Good morning again, boat lovers. Much better today. Weather report for yesterday, hot. It was here it was about 39 degrees Celsius, or just over actually, which is Fahrenheit about 103 degrees. And you won't be surprised to know that I did not do any work in the shed yesterday. It was stonking hot with a hot north wind, which is what we get here. Winds blowing in from the north, hot and dry, gusty, not very pleasant at all. So it was an inside day, but for today, back into the boat shed again to do that back area. Hello boat lovers, welcome aboard. I'm Steve and I'm single-handedly building Dragonfly. She's a 53 foot or 16.2 metre flat bottom wooden riverboat. She includes twin outboards, aft cabin, galley, a saloon, wheelhouse, separate head and shower, and a centerline queen double up front. She's specifically designed for the sheltered and inland waters of the River Murray here in South Australia. Join us each week to watch the mayhem and madness of one man and his rescue dog building a massive 53 foot flat bottom wooden riverboat. Get some lights happening. Okay, so this morning I'm going to get these edges here just sanded and filled so I can get them ready for painting, because when I paint this internal area I also have to do these posts, so I want to do that all in one go. So that's my plan this morning, get a little bit of sanding done and ready for painting. Now I will show you the galley, which I managed to get painted the other day. Not yesterday, I think a couple of days before that. So I think you guys saw me doing the sanding and getting it all ready for painting. So that's been done. I'll turn the camera around and show you the finished result. Here we go. Hopefully you can see that. Tricky with this light. I've got a few little feathered edges to tidy up where the masking tape is pulled back, or my little glue joins between the ceiling beams and the ceiling itself haven't been perfect, so there's a couple of spots. That one's pretty good, but you can see on this one here I've got some real tidy up I need to do along there, which is not the end of the world, just a little bit annoying. But for the most part, really happy with that. After I get this back area tidied up with these sanded and filled, and then also these top edges as well, then I can get this area painted. And once it's painted, as I think I've explained, I'm going to do the strip plank floor. I'm going to continue that floor there, down here, all the way to the back. I do have to make a little access hatch under these stairs because I've got a bilge pump under there, being the lowest point in the boat. There's one here and there'll be one at the very back. I was going to just use one of those off the shelf, white plastic hatches that open up, but I thought I might as well do a strip plank timber hatch like I've done in the wheelhouse, because that's going to look much nicer. A lot more work, I know, but I think at the end of the day it's going to look better. So I'm sure I'll be happy once the boat's in the water saying yes, because I'm going to see that all the time and I'm going to look at it and go, oh, I should have done the proper hatch. So I'll do a timber hatch cover for that, which will look great. The one at the back is not quite as important visually, because this one back here is actually probably going to be accessible through this locker. So I'll be able to put a hatch down in here, and that can just be, as I say, an off-the-shelf plastic access hatch to get to the bilge pump that's back here. So as you're probably aware, in a flat bottom boat you don't have anywhere that is technically the deepest spot to put a bilge pump like you do in a V-shaped hull. A V-shaped hull boat, there's always one lowest point and you put the bilge pump there. But a flat bottom boat, you don't really have that because it's flat. So in any flat bottom boats I always put my bilge pump in the center at one end and then the center at the other end. That way, if there's water intrusion, which I've never had, but if there is, you imagine a shoebox sitting in the water, and as you tip water into it, wherever that water goes, that's where the box is going to lean. So it's very awkward or very tricky to work out where you put a bilge pump. By putting one at each end, no matter what happens with the boat, the water would get to the bilge pump. So hopefully that's never required, but I like to think ahead and cover those things. So there'll be a bilge pump by the stairs, there'll be one here, and there's also one up in the forward bedroom, because they're the three lowest points. They are the 3 points that water would get to if for some reason it was coming into the boat. Alrighty folks, I am going to get stuck into this sanding and then filling. Alright. So I thought it would be great to have a drinks locker back here. So it's just going to go in this space here, but I'm not sure exactly what width I need to make that yet, so I'll check some measurements of coolers and make sure that I make a hatch that it will fit into. That way if people are sitting at the back here, we can have lots of drinks in there, you know, an ice box, it'll be great. We're going to have the large refrigerator inside, but nonetheless on a long trip, a couple of weeks up the river, keep all your food in the refrigerator and drinks in the icebox. I'll get this all painted and these other bits done, and then I'll get some measurements and I'll get that hatch cut in there. Okay folks, I am going to put on my beautiful mask, earphones, etc. and start sanding. Alrighty.
Last night, I thought I just might consider checking out early. But when the time drew near, the light was coming in, I said, I'm not going down that easy.
Okay, I think I've got those edges smooth enough to put the filler in now, so I'll make up some filler compound and just spatula that into place, let that dry, and then give it another sand tomorrow, and then it should be ready for painting, I think. That is the plan anyway. Alright, I'm just going to use filleting compound because there's a few spots to fill up there and it's not a stress area or anything like that, just aesthetic. So we'll just use a filler compound and fill up those gaps. Most of the gaps actually are just where the timber has the round edges and then it meets the square edge of the ply. So there's this little gap in here. That's really all I'm filling. So I'll get that done, and as I say, give it a sand tomorrow. All right, just going to wet out the end grain of the ply before I put the filler in. It's still warm today, so the resin's quite thin, easy to work with, but can't take too long, of course, because it'll go off quite quickly. So we get it in place as quick as we can and let it tack off just slightly before I put the filler in. It's really important to get the end grain of plywood really well wetted out, because if you're going to have any moisture anywhere, that's where it's going to go, straight into the end grain and get sucked right in, and that's what causes rot and delamination, etc.
Stay down, down. I'm at the bottom of the ocean. I'm at the bottom of the sea.
Alright, so I've got some filler-in compound there, and time to put some of that in. Hello again, boat lovers. Back in the boat shed this morning and getting stuck into this aft section. Last night I managed to put some knees or gussets, elbows, whatever you want to call them, in the top section. I'll just turn the camera around so you can see that. So I've got those corner pieces in, one there, one over on that side, just to give a little bit of extra strength for sideways movement. As I said, that section is solid as a rock because the roof holds everything in place anyway. But I thought, while I can get to everything, I might as well put those pieces in there. I think they look good and they're super strong. They're out of one solid piece of timber, and I've got what we call bugle screws, so long galvanized screws, about 100 mil long, going through, holding them in place. So this morning I'm going to sand that area and then mask it all up and get a coat of undercoat on it. That's the plan anyway. Alrighty folks, it is masking up time, and getting the masking tape in position onto these beams is a little bit tricky because, as you can see, sort of reaching up above my head and doing the bend and stretch. But the glue joins with these beams is pretty neat, so it was not that hard to get a decent edge on it. Some of those other beams that I was doing really has left a little bit of feathering, which I have to tidy up later on, but these ones are pretty good. So getting this all ready for painting, and this is going to be painted antique white USA like the interior, but this is an exterior paint that I'm using. Even though this area will be enclosed with awnings and things like that, I thought it was best to do these surfaces with an exterior paint, so that should work quite well. You may remember that I had a little bit of difficulty with some of the masking tape peeling off when I was doing the saloon, and even in the wheelhouse. It was a very low tack masking tape, and it tended to, under its own weight, just to peel off after a day or so. But I think the one I've got now, even though it's a blue masking tape, it's a higher tack and it seems to be sticking really well. I used it in the galley and didn't have any issues with that at all, so that seems to be the one to go for. The main thing really is just getting everything pushed in where the edges are to get a nice crisp line there. Really quite happy with this particular masking tape. Once it's a layer of undercoat on there, the masking tape seems to stay really well in place anyway, so I guess the main thing is to get everything masked up fairly quickly and then get the undercoat on as quickly as possible and let everything dry. Alright, on with the painting. So thank you very much for all the wonderful birthday wishes. That was fabulous. Nobody guessed my age, which is crazy. So have another go at that if you like, bit of fun. And yeah, I had a great birthday. It was fantastic. Had a couple of days off, and now of course I'm back into it. So thank you very much for that, folks. I am going to jump back in and get some painting done. Alrighty, see you down the back of the boat.